Dear my relatives, Pedro Payolo here, coming to share a message that I feel needs to be direly addressed. Too often nowadays, you hear the word hallucination being cross utilized between drugs and medicine. I feel that that term is not appropriate when referring to these sacred medicines. With all these initiatives coming up about legalizing psilocybin mushrooms, oftentimes you read nowadays on Google, it says hallucinogenic mushrooms. You ask Uncle Google about ayahuasca, hallucinogen. You ask about San Pedro, about the peyote, hallucinogen. And I do not believe that is an appropriate term to refer to these sacred ancestral medicines. I strive to help people realize the fine difference between a hallucination and a vision. A clear distinguishing needs to be made. So that's why I'm making this video here today. A hallucination is a false perception of stimuli, meaning it's something not real, something that's fantasy. For example, pink elephants flying in the air or something like that. A hallucination is a product of a synthetic laboratory effect, as to where a medicine provides a vision. A vision is a gift that is given directly by spirit. A vision is gifted when the person is ready, if they're ever ready to receive a vision. Somebody could sit in a ceremony one time, or they could sit in a ceremony 100 times and still not receive a vision. These medicines have the innate intelligence to know when and where and how to provide that vision to you, to help you along your path. Visions serve as a reminder, as a message from Creator, from our ancestors. Visions are sacred geometry, as to where hallucinations have this negative stigma because they could be unpredictable, they could be frightful. And oftentimes drugs have this forceful sense of providing a hallucination. Regardless what age you are and where you are in your walk, drugs are just like, feel this, feel that, see this, see that, regardless if you're ready to see something or be revealed to something. And that's a fine difference with the medicines. The medicines know when to reveal something to you, when you're ready, at your level of consciousness, wherever you are. So, therefore, I fervently believe that it is time, it is overdue to have respect for these sacred plant medicines by disassociating the word hallucination with these plants. It is time to destigmatize, to undemonize these sacred plants who are here to help us. Because I feel that as long as the word hallucination is generally associated with these plants, it will continue to deter people from wanting to get to know them and meet them and commune with them and heal with them. So I truly believe that a key aspect in the re-legalization of all these plants, a major step forward would be for people to realize the fine difference between a drug and a medicine. Anytime a medicine is taken out of context, it becomes a poison. Anytime one ingredient of a plant is isolated and concentrated and altered, adulterated in some way, in some fashion, I don't believe that's how our ancestors would relate to these plants. And that includes la mamajuana, even cannabis. All these cannabinoids that they're isolating and concentrating into different oils and things. I believe that when the plant is not in its full spectrum, it could be more susceptible to falling into the category that people classify as drugs. And I do believe it is an utter disrespect to lump these sacred plants into the same category as these laboratory things. So therefore, as an ambassador for these sacred plants, I want to speak up and help people to realize the fine, fine difference between a vision and a hallucination. Therefore, my sisters and brothers, I want to go ahead and say, Tlazo Kamatli, Pampa Dios, for sharing this message so that people may begin to relate to these plants in a sacred manner. These plants are not hallucinogenic. They are visionary. So I want to make that difference crystal clear so that our relatives may not be confused. It was the white man who spread all this confusion, labeling these plants, falsely labeling these plants with inappropriate, perverted terms. So I, as a light-skinned man, want to be the one to say, on behalf of the white nation, to say sorry and apologize for that confusion. And I'm here to say that we're ready to heal. It's time that the red man, the black man, the yellow man, the white man, all nations be able to reach a concisive, mutual, general understanding about the difference of what comes up directly from Pachamama, directly from the ground, and what comes out of some factory laboratory type of synthesis. It's time that we treat these plants fairly and give them the reverence that they so deserve. So if you agree that these negative preconceived connotations need to be dissolved, how you can insist is by helping your relatives realize this fine difference and not allowing anybody to cross-utilize the term hallucination when it refers to these plants. I find it to be a grand insult to these plants to refer to them with such vocabulary. So let us be prudent in the vocabulary that we choose to refer to these plants to. We owe it to them to have that respect. So then, my relatives, let us shift the narrative to a positive light so that we may be able to welcome in this new paradigm in a good way like that, so that all our relatives may be able to remember the interwovenness of all of creation. Let us use good words so that we can take care of this creation in a good way like that. Cuidar la palabra. We got to take care of our word. Ahu. And with that said, my relatives, I want to say aho, itakui oyasin. All my relations are in harmony. Ometeo. So, in a nutshell, these plants have the innate intelligence to know how to communicate to you, when to communicate to you, where to communicate to you, how to communicate to you. As to where drugs have no structure, no real guiding spirit that you can grasp. These laboratory substances don't love you. The plants love you. Ahu.